Well done.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's great to have your company as always. See you next time on The Chase Australia.
Tonight in 7 News, a single casket for a family of 4. The community comes together to celebrate the lives of Hannah and her children.
Panic on the share market. Coronavirus sparks the worst trading day since the GFC. And predictions petrol could fall as low as $1.
We have exclusive video. Thieves prey on a mother during a desperate dash to a Gold Coast hospital.
The southeast cops are drenching, while flood-bound outback towns could be cut off for days.
Ride sharing with your pet and beer brought to your door. The big changes coming to Uber this week.
And on top of the world, our triumphant women's cricket team celebrates history at the MCG.
Live from our Brisbane headquarters, this is 7 News with Sharon Gadella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. One of the greatest mums to walk this earth. That's how the brother of murdered mother Hannah Clarke wants her to be remembered.
His touching tribute was one of many given at a funeral attended by hundreds. A fitting farewell to Hannah and her children.
You're everything I need and more.
A precious family of 4 and just one casket.
Baby, I can see your halo.
In life and now in death, together.
I'm surrounded by your embrace.
I only wish there was more time. We love and miss you all so much.
Hannah Clarke and children Aaliyah, Leanna and Trey smiling onto a crowd of more than 1,000, a Prime Minister and Premier, police and rows of family and friends. A church full of some sadness but overwhelmingly love.
We will grieve not, but rather find strength in what is left behind.
Like memories of cherished children, Aaliyah, 6.
You are everything a big sister should be. You were strong, smart, energetic, and quite bossy.
Leanna, 4.
You were beautiful, sweet, and caring, and had a crazy imagination.
And Trey, 3.
You were your mother's little man and her best surprise.
Among those to share memories, none would mention the day almost 3 weeks ago that brought everyone together today. The horror of an ex-partner and father killing those that he should have cared for.
I would have laid down my life for you. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you.
Instead, choosing to remember the impact of the 4 lives, not how they were taken away.
Our lives are forever changed because of you, because of Aaliyah, because of Leanna, and because of Trey. A legacy of bravery and resilience, of strength, but most of all, a legacy of love. There will never be a day I don't think of you.
Mum and Dad, Nini and Pa, struggling to stay strong as the littlest mourners lay butterflies on the casket.
You are my sunshine.
Helping a mum and her children fly to a better place.
You make me happy when skies are grey.
From this, the very public outpouring of grief, those closest to Hannah and the children will gather for a private wake. But first, the family wanted to greet some special guests. They asked to meet the first responders from that tragic day to offer their personal thanks for their care and compassion right to the very end. Compassion that will be mirrored by a charity, Small Steps for Hannah, helping others face the challenges Hannah fought to overcome.
She walked with the universe on her shoulders and she made it look like a pair of wings. Love you, my girl, and your 3 beautiful angels forever.
Baby, I can see your halo.
Joel Dry, 7 News.
Australia's share market is reeling from brutal losses tonight, falling more than 7% and wiping away almost $140 billion. Coronavirus panic is to blame for our worst day since the global financial crisis.
Hit by a crushing double whammy, plunging oil prices and coronavirus, sending our market into a tailspin. Today, losing $137 billion.
So it's obviously very large losses and really reflects the fact that investors are very concerned about the outlook.
The Treasurer appealing for calm.
Market volatility in terms of equity markets is not uncommon at times like this.
But everywhere you looked was a sea of red. The ASX 200 fell off a cliff, closing at 57.60, down more than 7%. its worst daily slump since the GFC, down 19% from last month's record high. Energy stocks like Santos shed 26%. Woodside dropped 17%. Today's shock was Saudi Arabia's disagreement with Russia over oil production cuts. The Saudis signalling a price war.
And media outlets are now reporting that they may be discounting prices by up to 20%.
Already, we're seeing petrol at $1.13.
After seeing what's happening overseas, there's a chance that we might even see further falls.
Not just energy stocks, miners like Rio Tinto and BHP were slammed. Banks too. The twin impact of oil prices and the virus isn't just coincidence. Demand for energy has been falling as people cut back on world travel. And as coronavirus slows global economies, the fear is there'll be even less demand. Asian markets also fell. All eyes now on the US. Wall Street opens again within hours, not looking good.
We as a firm aren't satisfied that the worst is yet behind us.
And Gemma Acton, is there anything the average investor or super fund member can or should be doing?
Well, Sharon, it can be very hard to hold your nerve at times like this, particularly for anyone who needs to access their super in the near term. But the general advice for the average super member is to make sure you're comfortable with the level of risk that you're holding. If you do sell now, you'll be locking in any losses from the last few weeks. On the other hand, for any bargain hunters who are hoping to buy some shares on the cheap, it looks like there's quite a bumpy road still ahead of us.
All right, Gemma, thank you. A daycare centre in Maleny is being checked as part of routine contact tracing linked to the latest case of coronavirus. Queensland Health is trying to assure people in the surrounding region not to be alarmed but informed.
Queensland's latest case is the mother of a young child at a daycare centre linked to Maleny's River School.
It is a place that provides solid grounding for life.
Queensland Health says the 38-year-old woman who's in a stable condition in the Sunshine Coast University Hospital did not have any contact with the children. She'd recently travelled from London via Dubai, and 7 people who came into close contact with her are self-isolating.
But the important thing we have to do as a nation is to make sure that people who have the virus are isolated from the rest of the community.
There have been 15 cases in Queensland, more than 90 across Australia. Most of them are travellers returning home from overseas.
80% plus of people with this disease have very, very mild disease.
There's still only been 1 case of community transmission. 4 fresh cases in Sydney today forced the closure of 2 schools.
We've got coronavirus in the school and everyone's getting out.
2 students from St Patrick's Marist and a student and mother from Willoughby Girls High. In WA, comedian Russell Brand is shutting down tonight's show in Perth, telling fans there has been a confirmed case of coronavirus in someone who attended a recent show. Amid mounting pressure on the economy, the federal government's preparing to unveil a multi-billion-dollar stimulus package as calls grow to protect more than 3 million casual workers.
Clearly, there is a substantial issue with workers who don't have paid sick leave, so they should be looking at ways to deal with that pressure.
Our focus is in ensuring that businesses are flexible, given the stresses and strains that we will see
as the virus spreads.
As the cost of dealing with coronavirus rises, there's one plus: cheaper petrol prices. Tonight in Woolloongabba, United is selling unleaded for $1.17 a litre, and across Brisbane, the average price has dropped to $1.22 a litre. The RACQ says that's the lowest price since February last year, and some economists say the price of petrol could fall to as low as $1 a litre.
Thanks, Marlena. There's hope tonight for thousands of passengers stranded on a cruise ship off California, with plans to finally dock tomorrow. While, in a drastic bid to stop the spread of the virus, Italy has ordered a quarter of its population into isolation.
Italy's health system on the brink of collapse. 133 new deaths in just one day. 16 million people ordered into quarantine. The fashion and finance capital, a ghost town.
preghiera dell'Angelus di oggi.
The Pope prayed for those suffering via video link from inside a closed Vatican, while off San Francisco, growing frustration for thousands of passengers, including 4 Australians, still trapped on the virus-hit Grand Princess.
And we could see the Golden Gate Bridge this morning, and we actually could get cell service on our phones. So yeah, so close, so close. Very frustrating.
At least one passenger was medically evacuated off the ship today, but finally, hopeful news.
Agreement has been reached to bring our ship into the port of Oakland.
Set to happen tomorrow. The captain has warned that even once the Grand Princess is able to dock here, the process of getting everyone off board will take days. Passengers and crew then face weeks in quarantine, even if they're not showing symptoms. American passengers will go into isolation on military bases, foreigners sent home on charter flights, as coronavirus claims another event. Tennis players, including Australian Ash Barty, are already in California for the Indian Wells tournament. It's now one of the most high-profile sporting events cancelled. In Oakland, California, Amelia Brace, 7 News.
And on the latest with Michael Usher tonight, Australian medical experts will answer your coronavirus questions. That's on a special edition of The Latest from 10 p.m. Brisbane's former Catholic Archbishop John Bathersby has died after a stroke. He passed away at the Wesley Hospital today, aged 83. Archbishop Bathersby led the church for 20 years and was only the second Queenslander appointed to the position. He is survived by 3 sisters and a brother. A funeral mass is planned for the Cathedral of St Stephen. The Police Commissioner has revealed she's determined to bring Queensland's crime rates down by 5%. Over the past decade, crime has dropped generally, but it's juvenile offenders who continue to be a growing problem.
Casing cars. Each night, teen thugs target Queenslanders who work hard for their money.
Noticed my passenger door was ajar. My wallet was on the passenger seat and they're just taking all the cash out of my wallet.
Starting small, criminologists stress juvenile offenders should be taken seriously.
They're easy crimes to commit and then they can lead on to more serious types of offending.
But the Police Commissioner has set a new target to get crime down by 5%.
5% is ambitious, absolutely, but it is realistic as long as one focuses on the right problems.
Our greatest increases coming domestic violence, mental health, which is a 6 to 7% increase every year.
Today, 18-year-old Joel Jones was remanded in custody, charged with 50 offences. He's one of 3 alleged Southside gang members accused of taunting Brisbane Lions star Charlie Cameron on social media, posing with his stolen car. The trouble is, many children are repeat offenders, with up to 10% of young criminals committing half of the youth crime. According to a Queensland Government report, the number of children and young people coming to police attention has dropped by 22% over the last decade, down from around 12,000 in 2008 and 9 to 9,500 in 2017-18. A small step in the right direction.
I'd say lock up your car, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like enough. Get some cameras, get some motion sensors, just anything that's a bit of a deterrent, hey.
Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
Police will spend a week digging up the Maryborough tip, looking for clues around the disappearance of Shay Francis. The 35-year-old hasn't been seen since October 2018. Last year, her 44-year-old partner was charged with her manslaughter, but her body has never been found.
Police have information that her body was placed in an industrial bin at Torquay at Hervey Bay, and that industrial bin was subsequently emptied at the Maryborough landfill.
Police, SES and a cadaver dog searched the site today despite heavy rain. Relentless showers are falling across the southeast, as much as 50 millimetres dumped across parts of Brisbane. Further west, floodwaters cut off outback communities, with food and supplies being flown in.
The umbrellas were out today as the southwest was hit by constant showers.
I think it's a persistent, widespread rainfall. Everyone's getting something out of this, but no heavy rainfall leading to any flash flooding.
A high trough dropping more than 50 millimetres of rain north of Brisbane and south on the Gold Coast.
Not what we expected from Surfers Paradise.
Persistent rain across the southeast signified the end of summer conditions, with temperature and humidity expected to remain lower over the coming days. While outback towns in the southwest are dealing with flooding, the remnants of Cyclone Esther. Food and essential supplies transported in by land, water and air.
We got a chopper and then we went out and distributed them around property.
The townships of Quilpie, Thargomindah, Yulo and Hungerford have all recorded or will record very soon their largest flood peaks in the last 10 years.
Isolated, the communities have banded together.
Everyone sort of rallied and got behind each other and made sure everyone was okay.
But even as the rivers keep rising, residents are bracing for a dust storm.
We'll probably end up with a couple of inches of dust.
A reminder sometimes even flood doesn't break a drought. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
Now to Tony Auden. And Tony, what's the latest on today's rain?
Well, Sharon, it just keeps on streaming across the southeast. A little unusual to have this gentle soaking rain in Queensland, but it is nice not having to deal with flash flooding at this time around. Now, turning our attention to the tropics, and there's a pretty good chance we'll see a low or tropical cyclone spinning up in northern parts of the Coral Sea around Friday or Saturday. The most likely track is southeast, parallel to, then away from the coast. If that happens, it'll drag moisture and rain out to sea, and we'll be left with mostly dry but windy conditions on the Queensland coast. I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thanks, Tony. Australia's triumphant women's cricket team is still celebrating tonight after claiming the T20 World Cup final at a packed MCG. The victory was the most watched women's sporting event in history, and they capped it off with a once-in-a-lifetime party with pop superstar Katy Perry.
A win big enough to spark a movement. Our cricketers on top of the world after a history-making 24 hours.
Last night was epic. It was amazing.
This is a moment we'll look back on in 10 years. Were you there when, Australia won the World Cup in front of 86,000 people?
86,174 to be exact, as Australia triumphed in the most watched women's sporting event ever.
A magical moment in Australian sport has been achieved.
And the magic continued on stage with pop star Katy Perry post-match. Victorian Sophie Molyneux and Molly Strano leading the way.
We spent a bit of time dreaming about that sort of stuff.
Now, who was the better dancer, you or Sophie?
I reckon Sophie takes the chocolates.
There's this photo of me hugging Katy Perry, and if anyone knows me, I don't hug many people, and I've just got sheer joy on my face.
The next chance at World Cup silverware for our Aussie girls will be next year in New Zealand for the 50-over World Cup, but for now, the celebrations will roll on. And maybe some bragging rights at home for player of the final, Elisa Healy. Who had a better World Cup final, you or the hubby Mitchell Starc?
They're used to having sort of 90,000 people, so for us to play in front of 87,000 people, I'm going to say not me personally, but I think we had a better World Cup experience.
Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
Stuck in a boggy Brisbane creek for 6 hours, the incredible effort to rescue Peaches the horse.
Plus, why Townsville flood victims have been forced to clean up again.
Also, alcohol delivered to your door, when you can expect Uber's new service to arrive in Brisbane.
And before weather, a shocking theft outside a Southeast Emergency Department. Our exclusive investigation.
Dish so elaborate, even the judges wouldn't attempt it.
I wouldn't have done it myself. Even if Peter and I were cooking together in the kitchen, I wouldn't have done that.
With the standard of food so high, will the dish be their crowning glory? Wow. Or will it send their entire team to elimination?
It's either gonna work or not. There's no in between.
New My Kitchen Rules, tonight 7:30 on 7.
Now, Maybelline's first foundation with hyaluronic acid and collagen. New Dream Radiant from Maybelline, New York. Radiant coverage plus 12-hour hydration. Skin looks plumped and visibly improved. New Dream Radiant only from Maybelline, New York.
The new look Ranger FX4 with unique grille, 18-inch black alloys, and black sports bar. Catch the special edition Ranger FX4 at your Ford dealer now. Introducing Switch from Ladbrokes. Switch gives you the power to pick your promotion, giving you more of what you want to bet on racing. Place a fixed win bet and choose whether to double your winnings or get bonus back for second and third. The power to switch things up is in your hands. Make the switch at Ladbrokes today. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
At Pacific Harbour, Bribie Island, the beach is part of your life. Secure your large home site from under $290,000. Just 50 minutes from Brisbane Airport by bridge. Visit bribiebeach.com.au.
When it comes to your super, remember you have a choice. To say not good enough, then do something about it. Change to a fund that puts your interest above all else. Because coming out on top always starts with picking the right way. It's time to dream with your eyes open and choose Sun Super.
You can't beat Mitre 10 if you want terrific advice and a great deal.
Like a rock line trimmer with bonus trimmer lines, just $79, or a one-door, two-drawer pantry for $89.
That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10.
Townsville businesses spent the day mopping up after they were inundated with water from a burst pipe yesterday. It was a cruel blow as many continued to recover from last year's flood disaster.
We've just moved back into our house that flooded from last year's flood, so this has happened on the back tail of that. We've only been in our house a few days.
Townsville City Council has offered to pay some of the costs of repairs. A horse named Peaches is back on dry land after becoming trapped in a boggy Brisbane creek for 6 hours today. The owner praising the efforts of firefighters and a neighbour who came to their aid.
A moment, hours in the making. Peaches the horse finally free, kicking out as she stood on all fours once again, remarkably without injury. She was trapped in a creek on a Hemmant property for nearly 6 hours. Found at 5 a.m, the bank's too steep and boggy to get her out. Firefighters were called, but even with a ute, they couldn't free the mare. A neighbour with an excavator eventually coming to the rescue of rescuers.
We put some slings around. Luckily, he could grab that and lift it out to safety.
Through it all, Ben remained in the cold creek, comforting the frightened horse.
Look, honestly, that man was the one with the biggest heart. He was in that creek and she was feeling safe.
Peaches is usually the one helping. She's part of an organisation providing therapy for young people with disabilities.
The rescue is a happy ending after a challenging few months for the charity. They were hit hard by drought and are now dealing with flooding.
Because we're a not-for-profit organisation, we've actually had no income over the last 8 weeks, so we're really struggling.
Cherie will host a working bee this weekend to fence the creek. Rosanna Kingson, 7 News.
An armed man has been shot dead in the centre of London. Police say he was acting suspiciously around Westminster and when approached pulled out 2 knives. Officers responded with a taser, then gunshots. They've ruled out any link to terror.
A wild police chase has turned into a dangerous rescue mission when a car being pursued flipped and caught fire with 2 teenage girls inside. Police weren't sure if they were armed as they lowered an officer through the window to get them out. The teens hit a concrete barrier while trying to escape and became airborne. Both were pulled free and taken to hospital. It's unclear why they were trying to outrun police.
Riot police have broken up a memorial in Hong Kong, moving in as they declared it an unlawful assembly. Hundreds had gathered to pay tribute to a student who died during last year's protests. They ended up in a standoff with police who threatened force if the crowd didn't disperse.
Can't bear the thought of leaving your 4-legged friend? Uber's new offering ensuring you don't have to. But how much extra will it set you back?
Plus, a man's home destroyed. What caused this fierce blaze?
Also, a key milestone at Australia's newest university at Petrie.
And after sport, the inspiration behind a clothing line designed for women with disabilities.
A frantic mum, her sick child, waiting for help at Gold Coast Hospital. Then the unthinkable happens. The exclusive video coming up on 7 News.
Marco, what are you doing here?
Would you forgive your brother if he tried to steal your wife?
I'm not here to make trouble.
Then why are you here?
To finally heal this rift.
I've had the night to think about it, and I thought I might get in touch. Yeah.
I don't think I can make myself any clearer. You're not welcome here.
I'd appreciate your support.
Why would I help you?
Ben and I haven't always seen eye to eye. Because the last thing I want to do... Ben, there's something I wanted to tell you for the past 20 years. Is tell Ben that we slept together.
Home and Away, this week on 7.
Light and Easy is more than just a great weight loss solution. It also gives you more time to enjoy a healthier life, simply by having delicious, healthy meals delivered to your home. In fact, Light and Easy have just been recognised as Australia's #1 healthy meal delivery service, scoring 5 stars for customer satisfaction, as well as taste, variety and freshness. All things you'll find on their new autumn menu. So whether you want to lose weight with their new Jumpstart program or enjoy a healthier life, order from the new autumn menu today.
Lunch money?
Hey, Sarah. I love what you're doing with your hair. she got highlights.
Nivea Q10 Power, Australia's #1 anti-age day cream, contains natural Q10 identical to the one made by your skin to visibly reduce wrinkles. Nivea Q10 Power, 100% skin identical, 100% you.
G'day, mate. Just here to pick up my glasses.
These must be yours. Can I ask what they're all for?
Well, meditating. Reaffirming. Perfect. Me time.
Oh, what a guy.
And generally staying humble.
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. Like a titan that's rising.
The exhilaration you feel on the road comes from the limits we push on the track.
This is how legends are made.
Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
From tomorrow, you'll be able to ride share with your four-legged friend. Uber Pet is launching in Brisbane after being trialled in the US.
For many, they're mates, children and a part of the family you reluctantly leave behind. But now, even if you don't want to drive, you can take them along for the ride using Uber Pet.
We know that lots of our riders have pets that they want to bring around the city when they're doing errands or going to the vet or going to doggy daycare, so this provides them a great option.
I could definitely see that being, really useful for a lot of people.
Sounds like probably a safety concern.
It'll cost you $6 extra to take your pet on board. That fee doesn't apply to service animals.
You'll see the Uber Pet option in the Uber app starting tomorrow, and you can choose it just like you would UberX, and you'll have a driver that's ready to take you and your furry friend along for a ride.
It's not just cats and dogs that are welcome.
Any animal is fine as long as the driver's comfortable with it.
Next week, Uber will also launch its alcohol delivery service here in Brisbane. So even if you fancy a drink, you won't have to brave the conditions. Seems like it's passed the pub test. Tristan Vorius, 7 News.
A witness's account that he saw William Tyrrell the day he disappeared has been called into question as the inquest resumed today. The court heard the boy in the Spider-Man suit the witness says he saw may have been another child travelling with his mother around the same time. 3-year-old William went missing from his home in Kendall on the New South Wales mid-north coast in 2014. The last stage of the inquest is set down for 2 weeks. In the next few hours, the first criminal case over who shot down Malaysian Airlines MH17 will begin in a European courtroom. 4 suspects have been charged, and while they won't be at the court, victims' families will.
This is the courtroom where 3 judges will determine if 4 men murdered nearly 300 people. A massive judicial complex next to Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, where flight MH17 took off on July 17, 2014. Hit by a missile, it crashed in eastern Ukraine, a crime scene in a war zone. Among the dead, 38 Australians. 3 Russians and a Ukrainian, commanders in the Russian-backed rebel army that controlled eastern Ukraine, accused of using a Russian-made Buk missile to down the Boeing 777. For 5.5 years, detectives from 5 countries have pieced together the evidence, among them 500 officers from the Australian Federal Police.
Probably one of the most complex and challenging investigations that we've undertaken.
But it's unlikely the men will actually face court. Most believe they're being protected by Moscow.
Up till now, the Russians obstructed the investigation, or at least they didn't cooperate with the investigation.
Investigators laid a wreath at the memorial on a windswept corner of the Netherlands, where those lives cut short are remembered. There is an acknowledgement here. The search for justice will take a long time. The international partners, including Australia, have agreed to extend the formal investigation for at least another 12 months. In Amsterdam, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
A cigarette in a waste paper bin is believed to have started a fire which destroyed a home in Bundaberg. Rain did little to douse the flames, black smoke blanketing the neighbourhood as the timber home burned.
Quite extensive to the point where it is at that point where it's structurally unsound.
It took crews 20 minutes to put out the fire, which began while the owner was at work.
USC Moreton Bay has been talked about for close to a decade, but today it officially became a reality. Government dignitaries from all levels came together to open Australia's newest campus.
The final curtain on an 8-year journey. USC Moreton Bay officially open for business.
This is an incredibly important day, not just for the local area, but for Queensland and I think for our country as well.
Local, state and federal government coming together to mark the historic occasion.
What we've done today is ensure that the community has a bright future.
And this is an incredibly important job multiplier. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing for our local community.
The area has one of the lowest rates in Australia for higher education, but that will soon change with 50 undergraduate courses, including teaching, nursing and science.
It's all come together perfectly in the end, and we've got a wonderful campus.
The students agree. Classes have been in full swing since O Week.
All our tutors are really lovely and their support 24/7.
It's really easy to find my way around and the people are really nice.
1,300 students are enrolled this semester, but that number will grow significantly, with more than 10,000 students predicted by 2030.
They've obviously claimed it as their very own. That means it's going to be a great success.
The journey now just beginning. Brittany Lane, 7 News.
She made it to hospital, but not much further. Meet the woman who gave birth in a very public foyer.
Plus, how the personal data of more than 300,000 Facebook users has allegedly been put at risk.
Also, why Queensland cattle could soon be eating seaweed.
And out of this world, what's so special about this star discovered by Australian researchers.
You're turning a dog into a cat. Cat.
Will it be a catastrophe? Or Pooch Perfect? Family Fun Thursdays.
Oh my God!
Rebel Wilson's.
You still got it.
Pooch Perfect. Thursdays, 7:30 on 7.
My perfect bowl is with Mum, of course.
Dad, can you give me some?
Tell me what you think. If I didn't share with my mum, it would not be my perfect bowl.
Oh.
Meaning. We search for it our entire lives. The meaning in our existence. Work. Beliefs. Relationships. We're consumed by a need to find it. But it's when we stop searching and start feeling. Suddenly it's there, the two-grown coupe, because...
Oh, the chips.
Happens every time.
Get your Woolies worth on great specials, like Smith's Crinkle Cut Chips 170 grams, just $1.75 each. That's half price.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Endless nights, jet lag, oily skin? Get a Garnier mask moment. Garnier Tissue Mask, our first hydrating mask, infused with one full bottle of serum. In just one mask, replump your skin and glow. Garnier Tissue Mask by Garnier, naturally.
Well, at least 5G is fast.
Not all paracetamols are the same. Panadol with Optizorb has an advanced formula to deliver paracetamol more efficiently and be absorbed faster. It's fast and effective on pain and gentle on stomachs. Panadol with Optizorb from your pharmacy or supermarket.
You good for Dad?
Jump in.
Time is precious. To family, it's everything. There are moments hiding in plain sight, but all too often we miss them. At Subaru, we believe in the magic of living in the moment. Because in our life, every moment is a chance to do.
Get road trip ready with the latest super cheap auto catalogue. 25% off Century 4x4 batteries. And export 400-gram degreaser, $1.65 each when you buy 12. Save $1.14 each.
To finance, and as reported earlier, the share market has suffered its worst fall since the GFC, shares dropping $137 billion in value. The ASX 200 was down 455 points. Westpac economist Bill Evans has tipped Australia is heading for a recession. Westpac shares fell 8%, down $1.83. The Australian dollar fell to a fresh low of 63 US cents during trading, but then rose to close at 66 cents. And petrol prices are expected to drop even further after the price of crude oil tumbled by 30%. The price of unleaded in Brisbane is $1.22. The personal data of more than 300,000 Australian Facebook users has been put at risk. That's the allegation of the Australian Information Commissioner, who's launched legal action against the social media giant in the federal court. The information was at risk of being used for political profiling purposes and by other third parties. Most expectant mums and dads worry about getting to the hospital before their baby arrives. A Melbourne couple managed to make it to the front door, but not much further.
A hospital foyer becomes a delivery room. Little Anderson Casson just couldn't wait to come into the world.
It's an epic story.
Mum Julianne Longano made it to the hospital lift, but no further.
We're giving birth right here, right now, in the foyer.
She had been at home with husband Trent when contractions began and rapidly escalated.
A minute apart, contractions a minute apart, which you know from the movies you should be in the hospital by then.
Julianne struggled to get to the car, at times on her hands and knees.
My eyes were bulging out of my head and I remember thinking, I've stuffed this up.
We had the exclusive video.
From a low act to let's celebrate the good in sport. Here is Webby.
And there is a bit about Sharon. Hello everyone. Coming up, the Lions are ready to roar after a 70-point turnaround. The skipper might be missing, but...
Failure countless times, but maintained his silence. The most shocking is still to come.
Room with your eyes open and choose Sun Super.
At 98% fat-free and
here, so we've got that to defend as well. We haven't played one-day cricket, I think, for over 12 months in Australia, so looking forward to that challenge as well.
At the WACA, the Bulls have failed to put away the Warriors on the final day of their Shield clash. A stubborn 90-run, sixth-wicket stand between Whiteman and Hardy, narrowing the chances of Queensland getting a result. Alex Glenn's hopes of leading the Broncos in Friday's season opener against the Cowboys appear to be dashed after again failing to train today. It puts the son of a former NRL bad boy on the cusp of a long-awaited debut.
It was the sort of session veterans are sometimes happy to miss. But in this case, it's likely to cost Alex Glenn. His absence paving the way for a redemption story. 6 years ago, Jamil Hopewade was behind bars. He got his life back on track and his football, starring for Redcliffe last year. Now he's finally set to follow his dad John and brother Will into the NRL.
I'm really looking forward to playing with Jamil, and I know he won't let us down, and he'll put his best foot forward.
Bird will line up at fullback in a head-on battle with Valentine Holmes. If he's daunted by the task of stopping his former premiership teammate, he's not showing it.
It's quite easy. Just tackle him.
But what about tackling that mullet? No chance. And here's the reason.
I haven't got past round 10 in 2 years, so once I get past round 10 without an injury, I'll cut it.
Players from both sides pumped for footy's first foray at the Cowboys' new stadium.
We're always up for the game against the Broncos, but there'll be that little extra bit if that is even possible.
I'm looking forward to a packed house and a fair few fans behind both teams, so it'll be pretty exciting.
It's been a while since the Titans have entered a season with this much enthusiasm. The players say it's because of the simple message from the coach.
He just wants us to compete hard, and in everything we do, we've got to try our best and enjoy what we're doing.
Their opponents were grand finalists last year, but the Raiders say a bit of success doesn't mean they can take anyone lightly.
Teams are going to be coming for us, and it's going to start this Friday night. They've got a big pack and they've got some fast outside backs, so yeah, we're going to have to turn up.
Andrew Hamilton, 7 News.
The Lions concede building on what they know is the key to 2020 after their pre-season experiments didn't quite go to plan. Checking out club legends Kevin Murray and Jonathan Brown's immortalisation on the streets of Fitzroy, it was last night's comeback over the Blues that was just as impressive. Brisbane struggled while tinkering with their setup. Ditching it sparked a 70-point turnaround. Kicking the final 11 goals, Charlie Cameron finished with 5.
I think it's going to be a challenge.
We probably don't need to change too much. We just need to keep getting better at what we do. We've only had a year together with that team.
They meet Hawthorn round 1 live and free on the screens of 7. The signs are good for our men's Olympic rugby hopes, making the final of the Vancouver Sevens this morning in Canada. Back-to-back top 4 finishes for the first time in 2 years. The Aussies were purring against the Kiwis, a side they hadn't beaten in the last 9 starts.
Maurice Longbottom into the backfield. Longbottom, V. Karoi. Longbottom, 10 from home. Checks the run. Gets it there, Longbottom.
But their 14-5 buffer was eroded by 2 yellow cards. Longbottom's soft for a high shot before things got testy. Playing against 5 men, New Zealand put on 2 tries to take gold, 17-14. And that's our Sport Chat.
Right, thank you, Webby. Shopping, it can be hard for most women, but imagine having Parkinson's, arthritis or being in a wheelchair. A Brisbane designer has created a line of clothing with no fiddly trims that are easy to get on and off with dignity.
Easy, breezy, beautiful. CoverGirl's forgotten by fashion until now.
Buttons are a nightmare for me these days.
I've had 2 dresses for 6 years and I alternate them daily.
Tracy Jackson shoots bullseyes for Australia's shooting team, but she can't wear a skirt or most pants because zips and low waists don't suit muscular dystrophy or wheelchairs.
They're Velcro on the bottom, which it stops any of the pants legs getting caught in anything.
The clothing line is called Christina Stevens, organic, sustainable, Australian-made and inclusive, like wide necklines, so 84-year-old Doreen, who has arthritis, can slip on shirts.
This is nice because it stretches.
There are open backs to retain privacy when help is needed to change and discreet pockets for catheter pouches. The label was created by Jessie Sadler after her mother had a fall.
Was pretty amazed at the limited options that there were for modern fashion-forward women that were living with these issues.
She's launched Unique Women, Unique Stories, a call for action in Australia's $28 billion fashion industry.
I can't walk, but I can shop and I can use a credit card, so I'd really like to see bigger brands jump on board.
And stop excluding 20% of women living with a disability.
This is good. This is really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Erin Edwards, 7 News.
Sunrise is back tomorrow morning. Here's what's coming up.
Thanks, guys. Tomorrow on Sunrise, a mum's mission to keep kids safe online.
The social media must-dos every parent needs to know. See you tomorrow, Queensland.
A mother preyed upon by a thief during a desperate dash to a Gold Coast hospital. We have exclusive vision of the callous act.
And how long will this rain last? I'll have the forecast and the latest on that potential cyclone up north. It's coming up next.
Seven News with Sharon Gadella and Max Futcher. The most awarded, the most trusted. 7 News, Queensland's #1.
On an Avalon River cruise, you can have things your way. Because Avalon is a come-as-you-are experience. It's a kick back and relax, or get out and explore experience. It's a do whatever you want to do on whatever schedule you want to do it on experience. Plus, with great limited time offers, it's a why on earth wouldn't you experience? Join the millions of people who only use the #1 address in property, realestate.com.au.
9. No. Nay. No. No matter how you say it, it'll make so many travellers happy. Flight Centre now has no online booking fee, unlike most of our competitors. That's why we're best in the air and everywhere. Flight Centre.
Been to Woolies. Get your Woolies worth on thousands of prices dropped across the store, like Huggies Jumbo Ultra Dry Nappy Pants, just $25 each.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Nivea Q10 Power, Australia's #1 anti-age day cream, contains natural Q10 identical to the one made by your skin to visibly reduce wrinkles. Nivea Q10 Power, 100% skin identical, 100% you.
Intel 10th Gen has arrived at Harvey Norman. Redefine what's possible with incredibly thin, impossibly light laptops that are as smart as you with intuitive AI, accelerated performance driven by Optane memory with SSD, and marathon battery endurance for work and play. Wi-Fi 6 connectivity that's super fast and reliable. Stunningly immersive visuals for gaming and 4K editing. Redefine what's possible to the power of 10. Experience Intel 10th Gen core processors at Harvey Norman.
When it comes to dealing with mental health, there's care.
Missed another meeting, mate. Everything all right?
And there's the uncommon care you get with HCF.
Hi, Daniel.
Connecting eligible members to a range of online mental health services, such as video chat with a professional.
Great session.
As Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, we put people before profit. That's uncommon care.
Those firefighters are heroes.
The team that runs towards the danger. New 911, tonight on 7.
Marco, what are you doing here?
Would you forgive your brother if he tried to steal your wife?
You're not welcome here.
Last thing I want to do, Ben, there's something I wanted to tell you for the past 20 years. Just tell Ben that we slept together.
Home and Away, this week on 7.
This weather report brought to you by HCF, Australia's most trusted health fund.
Making news tonight, Hannah Clark and her 3 children have been remembered by more than 1,000 mourners in an emotional funeral. $137 billion has been wiped from the Australian share market in the worst trading day since the global financial crisis. Former Brisbane Catholic Archbishop John Bathersby has passed away following a stroke. He was 83. And there are predictions petrol prices will drop to as low as $1 a litre as the price of oil slumps. 7 News has obtained exclusive video showing a calculated callous theft as a mum helps her son in a hospital emergency department. In the lowest of low acts, the mum's car is stolen, metres from a place of care and compassion.
Stressed, a mum holds a bucket for her son seconds after arriving at the emergency department at Gold Coast University Hospital. In her panic, she left the keys in her car parked out front. Watch as an opportunistic thief strikes. The mum leaves her distressed son dashing outside as her car is driven off.
This is disgusting, frankly.
The thief drives down a dead-end road, moments later returning into view and driving off. This is the extreme obtained by 7 News under right to information. Thieves are targeting patients and staff in hospitals across the southeast, snatching wallets, phones and money. One incident has a thief stealing a wallet from a backpack while a patient is in the bathroom. A place where everyone should expect to be in safe hands, unscrupulous criminals are targeting the most vulnerable.
Zero tolerance for stealing in our hospitals, whether that's from the hospital or from other patients.
Health authorities say hospital security teams work closely with police to ensure that those that are caught are prosecuted.
We have CCTV right throughout our hospitals. You won't get away with it.
The Gold Coast University Hospital said in a statement that people should not bring valuables or large sums of money to any hospital. A warning to thieves and for hospital patients and visitors to be vigilant. Steve Titmus, 7 News.
Now to a story which is sure to make you smile. An adorable but rebellious rescue dog has stolen the show and plenty of hearts during his final performance at an annual dog show in Birmingham.
And that is against the rules. That has to be a few faults, that.
Kratu's run on the agility course clearly didn't quite go to plan, but he certainly seemed happy with his performance. He's not the only one.
Every dog has its day, or even an off day.
Yeah, having a great time. Weather now, here's Tony.
Thank you, Max. I don't think my dogs would be much better than that. Now, onto the weather and a dreary old Monday across the southeast. Steady rain from sunrise to sunset. Some areas ticking well over 50 millimetres since 9 a.m. It was our coolest day since early October. Tops in the low 20s, 21 degrees at Logan. Zooming out, we're seeing some storms firing away through southern inland parts of Queensland. If you want to head to the beach for Adelaide and Perth, a sunny top of 30 degrees in the South Australian capital, up to 33 in Perth. Back to northern Queensland, showers and storms are set to continue for Cairns, Townsville and Mackay tomorrow. Heavy rain possible from about Wednesday, but it could actually ease back if a cyclone forms offshore, then moves rapidly away from the coast towards the end of the week. Heading south, showers also continuing for most spots on the map here, top of 27 degrees for Maryborough. A mostly cloudy but dry day in Roma, 17 to 25 there. Now, across the southeast, the rain should ease back to passing showers by about sunrise tomorrow. Cloud thinning out a bit and the odd sunny break returning, though strong winds are set to continue along the coastal fringe. Warming up a touch as we get a few more glimpses of blue sky. Ferny Grove tracking for a top of 25 degrees, Chermside 27. On the water, well, you will have to get used to these blowy conditions. Southeasterlies to 25 knots on the bay, strong winds offshore and a bit of swell running as well. So in Brisbane, a 50% chance of showers. They'll be most likely in the morning. Keep that waterlogged umbrella handy just a little bit longer. A bit cooler on 19 degrees tonight and a bit warmer on 26 tomorrow. Looking further ahead, well, we settle into a very autumnal pattern. Tops in the high 20s, a bit of patchy cloud, the odd shower here and there. In Ipswich, the nights will stay a bit cooler as well, into the mid to high teens. On Thursday, 17 up to a top of 28. On the Gold Coast, southeast winds staying up all week, maybe a gradual easing trend towards Friday and Saturday. And Sunshine Coasters, mid to high 20s, a couple of showers as far as the eye can see. But when will we heat up again? Well, humid tops in the 30s are possible until mid-April, so don't pack away the summer wardrobe just yet.
I shall keep it handy. All right. Thank you, Tony. And that is all from us this Monday. Thanks for your company.
Join Michael Usher for a special edition of the latest from 7 News at 10 tonight. Sunrise is back in the morning from 5:30. From all the team, have a good night.
Good night.
Home and Away